Hello, dear second graders. I'm so glad you're here today for our video lesson. I hope you have all your school books here with you. I think it's a great idea to have them with you because sometimes during the lesson I'm working out problems that are in your homework. So if you have it there with you, you can follow along in your book, you can follow along on your worksheet and have some of the work done before I've even finished the video. I really enjoy seeing you each morning in our live class, and I'm glad you're here now watching this video. I know you're going to work hard on your homework today. We're going to start with math, and we're doing something you can see right at the top. It's problem solving, but it's multi-step problems. So you want to get out worksheet 221, 222, and let's do some of these multi-step problems together. All right? I drew the picture here to match the picture on your worksheet. These are all books, so we're going to do some, and they're all books with their prices, so you can tell we're going to do some word problems that sounds like the characters are the main people in the book. Word problems are going to a bookstore, maybe. I love bookstores. Okay, so we're going to use this information from the prices of the books. We're going to use the information in the word problem, and then we're going to follow more than one step to get to the answer. Okay, so let's look at number one together. Listen carefully and I'll read it to you. Dad had $6 when he went into the bookstore. He bought a puzzle book and a missionary book. How much money does Dad have left? Okay, so you're going to have to take information you find from up here and information from the story or the word problem, and then get to your final answer. You have to work more than one problem, okay? So let's take the information they've had. He says he had $6 when he started. Okay, that's important. We're gonna come back and we're gonna use that in a moment. He bought a puzzle book and a missionary book. Okay, so here's our puzzle book. It's $1.95. Here's our missionary book. It's $3.15. To start with, let's add those together and see how much he spent on books, okay? So we'll write $1.95 and $3.15. And remember, you always line up your decimal points to make sure you're adding or subtracting from the right place value, okay? So let's add. What is 5 plus 5? We'll start in the ones column. 5 plus 5 is 10, which means we're going to put a 0 here and rename our 1 to there, right there. And then we have 1 plus 9 plus 1. That's 11. So bring that back over again. Now what is 1 plus 1 plus 3? That's 5. So he spent $5.10 on his books, but that's not what they asked. The final question is not how much money did it spend, it says how much money does Dad have left? Okay, so to find that out, we're going to take the information from the very beginning of the story, which is that he started with $6 and he spent $5.10. Okay. So now we're going to do this. And what we come up with right here will be the final answer. So minus, okay, because we're finding the difference here at the end. 0 minus 0 is 0. Can't take 1 away from 0, so we'll go over here. Take 1 from over there and put it there. What is 10 minus 1? It's 90. But is the answer to this 90? Or it's 9, 10 minus 1 is 9, which puts 90 right here. But it's not 90, we need to put the decimal point so that we know it's 90 cents, not just 90, or not $90. We've got to make sure we have all of the details right to our thing. So the answer to this is, how much money does Dad have left? He has 90 cents left, okay? So you see we followed more than one step to find our answer. Let's look at the next one. This is problem number 1. Let's look at problem number 2. It is also having to do with the bookstore. Mom had $15 when she went into the bookstore. How much money does Mom have left after purchasing 2 hymn books? All right, so again, we're going to take this information, the information from the story, and work 2 problems to find our answer. So she started with $15. We're going to keep that and use it in a minute. She bought 2 hymn books. So we'll start with our addition. $6.50 plus $6.50. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry that one over, rename that one. Make sure our decimal point is here. And when I wrote these, I made sure the decimal points all lined up. 1 plus 6 is 13. Okay, so she spent $13 on hymn books. How much money does she have left? Now, you might just know this in your mind, but you are also doing this math. $15 minus $13 equals what? We can put our zeros here, our decimal point. What's 5 minus 3? That's 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So our final answer, how much money does Mom have left, is $2. So you see how that works? We use all the different information. We have to follow more than one step to get to the final answer. All right, so I want you to pay careful attention to that and realize you won't just be doing 1 math problem, you'll have to be doing 2 to find the answer to your problem. Then on the back side of your sheet, you'll do some more of that. The next few problems on the front are very simply just practicing some more 3-digit subtraction, where you might have to rename, you might not, so just pay attention to what's happening in your math problem. Okay. Time for reading, and for reading we're going to review our story that we read, our play, Little Twigs. My assistant is here to help us review our vocab words. I'm going to read a vocab word and she's going to see if she can define it quickly, either with a simile, a single word that means the same or almost the same thing, or a quick explanation. Okay, the first vocabulary word is cousins.
An aunt or uncle's kids.
Exactly. Okay, extra.
More than you need.
Good job. Spurted.
A simile for spitted or
Squirted.
Squirted, yeah.
Struggled.
Tried
Tried hard. Wedged.
Stuck in.
Stuck in. Good job. Oh, gotta get to the next one.
5th graders have a hard time. Fades. Going away.
Good job. Snuffled.
Sniffed.
It's like swirled.
Like this. like this.
Going down.
Yeah.
Spinning around or going down. Okay. So those are the vocab words. It was a play, so there were several characters in the play, and we couldn't perform the play together as a class because we're in different places, but we're going to practice today reading a small part of it as characters and trying to put emotion into our voices. And I would like you to try doing this at home as well. To make this easier to do, or more fun rather to do and act out, we're going to draw some beavers to try to make some little puppets to do this ourselves, okay? So one of the things about drawing for something like this is you can't be a perfectionist and give up. You have to just be like, well, is it beaver-ish? Then that's good, okay? So I have a simple beaver pattern that I followed instructions to do. I'm going to trace it in a dark marker. For some reason, I could not find a brown marker in my house, so we're making it without. But it would make more sense for it to be brown. And Harper's going to follow my instructions, and we're going to end up with 2 beavers, and then we'll be able to do a little bit of the play. So follow along with us so that you can have your own beaver, okay? We'll probably start this, working on this in our live class, but you can keep on working on your beaver so you have a little puppet. Okay, so start with just a circle for the beaver's head. And then I looked at several drawing instructions, and it seems like the beaver's ears aren't quite rounded. They're like a little bit squared, right? And then we make like almost like a triangle for the nose. You can color it in. And then right under the nose, it's sort of like you do the shape of a smile, like an animal smile under a nose. Now this is pretty much one of the more important parts that makes it look like a beaver, because right now it could be a mouse with really tiny ears, it could be a bear, there's any number of things it could be, but you're going to carefully put big teeth in the front. This is one of the main features of a beaver. Now we can also do his eyes up here. We're making our beavers look like cartoon beavers, right? If you just want to do a dot for the two eyes, dot, dot, that's also fine. Now his body is kind of like an oval down from the head, with then a little half circle for a foot at the bottom, and then just do straight across to fill it in. And you can do another half circle if you want to sort of make it look like he has a little tummy right there. This is the other big feature of a beaver, is this tail. We're going to start a little bit behind his head and then go, we're making it really exaggerated. That's his big beaver tail. If you want to put little feet, his back legs, you can. That's not necessary, but if you want to put it, you can. Now, Harper, that looks great. Now, is it perfect? No. And if you saw the tutorial that I got this off of, it looks quite different from that, but it's beaver-ish. We can both tell that it's beavers. A lot of the tutorials about beavers had like kind of like stripes on the tails like this. If you want to add more details, that is up to you. Okay, so then we'll cut out these beavers and we will act out a short portion of the play together. We'll read it together because we don't have it memorized, but we're going to read the parts and we're going to put emotion and character into our voice, okay? We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. We've been working on our little beaver puppets. Right now they're just pictures. Harper's finishing up her cutting. We were comparing them and we think hers is a little bigger, so it's going to be Chester, and the one I drew is going to be Billy. And since Chester is always he's kind of trying to get Billy in trouble or teasing him, we're going to put some angry eyebrows on him, kind of show that he's being mischievous, like those angry eyebrows. This is Chester. Okay, so to make a puppet, you could just put some paper on the back that you could slide your hand in. We are going to go the route of using some tape and some extra pencils, and we're just taping the pencil onto the back of our puppet. Do you have enough tape? Yeah. Okay, so we're taping the pencil on the back of our puppet. Now we picked a short part of the play to read, showing with character and voice. It's page 118 and 119. There's a few sentences on both pages. And I'm going to be the narrator and Chester. Harper's going to be Billy. We went outside ahead of time and found a few twigs. Those are our only props, okay? So we're going to read a small bit of the play together with character and emotion, okay? So after you make your puppet at home, I want you to pick one portion to read, decide what your character's voice would sound like, and read it with character and emotion. And you'll notice when we're reading the play, we're not going to read the name of who's saying it. You know, when I read it out loud to you, I read the name of each new person who was speaking because we were just reading it. But now when we're going to perform a short part of it as a play, we're not going to read the name of who's talking. We're just going to be that character. Okay, so come down here.
Can I see it?
Yeah, come here. Gotta check the screen if you're on there. There you go. All right. I'm Chester, you're Billy. Yeah? Okay. your guy's not that high enough. There we go. One afternoon, two young beaver cousins were playing beside the beaver dam. Chester, the larger beaver cousin, tugged at a twig in the dam. It came out easily, and he toppled over. 5. That makes 5 for me. What do you have? Only 2. Hold it up higher.
Here's one. You'll have to give me extra points when I get this one.
Billy the smaller beaver bit into a small, smooth sapling that was wedged into the dam. He pulled hard until his paws kicked up muddy water. Where'd he go? Where'd Billy go? I'll have to help you. You're too little to work that one loose.
No, you don't, cousin. You just want to take my points.
Ta-da! Okay, so I want you to finish your beaver puppet. Choose a portion that you want to read aloud with voice and with emotion. And you also have your worksheet, page 313 and 314. That's the assessment of the whole play. So you might want to use your reading book to find the answers to some of those questions. And I would like to see a picture of your finished beaver puppet. And if some of you want to actually perform a short part or read a few lines with character and emotion, send me the video, okay?
Bye!
In English, we've been learning about adjectives, and you guys have been doing a great job with it. We are building up to this Friday. We'll be doing our final test or quiz over this chapter on adjectives. So you can notice each day this week we're just learning, we're reviewing a little more to make sure you're really remembering and taking in all the different details about the adjectives, okay? So today I just wanted to go over with you, you'll be doing your chapter 11 review. So this takes us all the way back to the beginning of learning about adjectives, to remember all the different types of adjectives we've learned about. I'm going to do a few of the problems from your worksheet together with you to make sure you have the idea of what's going on. We always talk about that English is, especially all of your homework, it's important to never skip the instructions. That's important part, and sometimes we get in a hurry and just glance at something and think, I'm pretty sure I know how to do this. But you should always take the time to read the instructions. And English worksheets especially frequently ask you to do different types of things, or they ask you to do more than one thing. So always notice what the instructions say. I like how in your English it makes them a different color. Always notice what the blue words are asking you to do. Right off in the English Chapter 11 review, it asks you to draw a box around the adjective that answers the question, what kind? And the first 4 that you'll do are all of that. Draw a box around the adjective that answers the question, what kind? Because we've talked about there's lots of different types of adjectives. Adjective is a word that describes a noun, right? So here we have a noun, world, and which adjective answers the question, what kind? Well, beautiful. Our God made the world. What kind of world? The beautiful world. Okay, so you're going to read each of those sentences and think, which of these is an adjective that is answering the question, what kind? And describing a noun, all right? So there's just for an example, that's number 1. Number 5 comes to a new section that reminds us that adjectives can often ask us to use our senses to realize what we're seeing, or just describe what something is like, is using one of your 5 senses to see, or to touch, or to smell, or to taste, or to hear, okay? And different adjectives call on you to use a different sense, okay? So we're going to look at that next section just has sentences for you to read that each time you're going to think, which sense would I have to use to figure out that adjective, okay? For example, Amy has a soft kitten. In these sentences, the adjective has a box around it for you. The question that you're answering is, which sense is it referring to that you would need to use? Amy has a soft kitten. What are you going to do to feel that? Oh, I gave it away. Feel. It's that sense. The sense of feel tells you that the kitten is soft. Okay? If it said a quiet kitten, Amy has a quiet kitten. then you would know it was like a sense of sound or sense of hearing. If it was said something like Amy has a spicy kitten, something gross like that, you would be using your sense of taste. But that's not the sense we need for this sentence. And there are 5 or 10 more, or 5 or 6 more of them, all that ask you to think of that. Read the sentence, notice the one in the box, and think, which sense do I need? So for this one, Amy has a soft kitten. That's feel, okay? The other type of adjective we've been learning about is adjectives that compare. And the describing word being you can compare 2 things or more, 3 and more, okay? So we're going to look at this sentence, and this is on the back. It says they want you to mark how many are being compared, right? And the adjective already has a box around it. Let's read this together. The lion's roar is louder than the dog's bark. All right. Louder is the adjective, and it's an adjective that is comparing. We look at the sentence, we can find the nouns. The lion's roar and the dog's bark. We're comparing the roar and the bark, so 2. Okay, that's the answer. There is 2. All right. Now, and you know, if something is comparing 2, you use the ER on the end. All right. Then they have a section where you're going to fill in the blank, and you have to figure out if you're going to use an adjective that compares that ends in an ER or an EST. And you ask yourself, well, how many things are being compared? How many nouns are being compared? And ER is for comparing 2 nouns, and EST is for 3 or more. All right, so let's read this. The turtle is the something of all 3 animals. And it gives you your option. It puts it over to the side. It says it wants you to figure out what to do with the adjective slow. Are you going to say slower? Are you going to say slowest? If you're not sure, you can just try it out, read it in there and see which one makes sense. Or you can ask yourself how many things are being compared here. The turtle is the something of all 3 animals. And it tells you right here at the end that they're comparing 3 animals. Also, it makes sense. The turtle is the slower of all 3 animals. Doesn't sound right, but the turtle is the slowest of all 3 animals. And there's a few of them for you to do like that. And then just asking you again, reminding you again that adjectives can answer the question, what kind? They can also answer the question, how many? So you have a few more to fill in the bubbles for of what kind of adjective are you using. All right, we're going to do some history again today. We're going to read a new portion of your history book. You'll be reading page 149 to 151. This section of your history book, it's still in the Southern colonies, but under the heading of information about religion and education. Okay, so we've talked about life in the Southern colonies was a difficult place. It was a difficult place because of it being hard to make a living. It was a difficult place because of the climate. It was also a difficult place because of patterns they had of there was not equal opportunities for people. Some people could live very well and some people were not treated well at all. So you'll come across that even while you're reading this portion having to do with religion and education. I want you to do as we've done on the other places where you read some of your textbook on your own. I want you to take note of the bold print words, and I want you to underline them along with their definition. 2 of the words you'll find in the religion part are Anglicans and Huguenots. And we've talked about people who came to the colonies came from all different places in the world, and they came for different reasons. And sometimes they were coming for religious reasons and wanting freedom to worship in a different way than maybe they could where they had come from. And also something that happened because it was people coming from all over the world is they brought different abilities and artwork and traditions with them. So you'll read a little bit about that, about how people coming from different places into the southern colonies also brought some different traditions and different types of church services and things like that. And then we'll also read some about education. And education in the southern colonies was different. There weren't very many schools. I know we've read about in some of the colonies they had all different types of schools, schools for girls to go to and schools for boys to go to and different things. And in the southern colonies, they were mostly, if they got to do school, was at home. And if you were, it was only school if you were a wealthier family who could have a teacher in your own home teaching the kids. So that I think you'll find all of that quite interesting. And you're going to be reading page 149 to 151 on your own. Notice the details and then go to your worksheet, page 155, and you'll answer some questions just to help you with your comprehension and retention of what you've been reading and learning about. And next week, we'll finish up our learning about the first 13 colonies, and we'll do some studying and be ready for a test at the end of next week. So work hard on this next section, and I'm so glad that you opened up your lesson video for today, and I hope you're working hard on your homework. If you have any questions or you need help with something specific, will you please, circle the problems you're having trouble with or send me an email with some information, and then I'll know just how I can help you if you need some extra help. Okay?